sing. Can't sing much. It's hard for me to sing now. As you get older, your pitch gets crazy and your vibrato goes berserk. You know what the vibrato is? When you get old, it goes
Mine was never good.
You don't have a vibrato. Well, it's better not to have one and have it go crazy when you could be 70 or 80. I remember after Elvis did his Hawaii special, Frank Sinatra tried to answer him with a Carnegie Hall special. And everybody would say, he sounds better than ever. He sounded 65 or 70 years old, and his vibrato was everywhere, and his pitch was all over the place. And I'm going, they're saying that because he was famous already, because he was Frank Sinatra. He didn't sound good at all. To anybody that's musically inclined, he was all over the place with his pitch. When you get older, you can hear your pitch go off, and you try to straighten it out, and you can't. You can hear yourself singing off key. Just the way it is. That's life. Thank goodness for that. All right. We had an unbelievable funeral down here day before yesterday. Whew. I never seen a funeral like that in my life. It was that police officer that was killed.
Oh, yeah.
And they had all of Galatron blocked off down here to the bank. Well, actually to New Shackle Island all the way to First Baptist. And I guess they were inviting police officers from several states and all over Tennessee, from Kentucky and Alabama. There were 1,000 motorcycles in that parade, in that funeral procession, and probably 1,000 police cars. I got stuck over here at the post office. I couldn't get out. I came up to New Shackle, and they said, you can't go this way, go down toward Rivergate. So I went down there, went over to Rockland Road, and came up, got into the post office parking lot. As soon as I got in, they blocked everything off, and I couldn't get out. And I sat there for an hour and watched police cars. I mean, hundreds of them. I've never seen that kind of a funeral. Johnny Cash didn't have that kind of funeral. I guess it was police officers paying tribute to their dead colleague, you know. And but other policemen have been killed. That boy was 31 years old. He's married, had a little girl 3 years old, and he was chasing some guys that were making a drug deal down here off the interstate right at Goodlettsville, and he ran into the traffic, and a woman, 86-year-old, 76, 66, 68-year-old woman hit him, and she's from Kentucky, and he died, and they had a funeral on Channel 5, long, for a couple hours. I've never seen that happen with a police officer being killed. But they were honoring him or something. It was unbelievable funeral. Just, I thought they'll never stop coming, but they paraded. They went up here to the bank and turned left and headed off down around. I guess it was just too long. They had to go through Hendersonville and do something, but it was something else. I feel bad for the wife and the little girl, but it was the will of God. That's the point. And it's always the will of God when something like that happens. I'm going to read to you some of our emails. Robin Peters in Amarillo, Texas writes, she's a dear lady down there, and her son, they both write to us. Greetings, Pastor Jim and Mary, and all at Grace and Truth. Much agape to you all. Thank you, Pastor Jim and staff, for everything you do for the brethren. We thank the Lord our God for bringing us to his truth and his true church. We agape and phileo you all, Robin and Whale, well as her son. We love you guys. Donna Cook in Nebraska. Thank you for your ministry, Jim. Please use this offering wherever it is needed. I enjoy learning from your videos. Love to y'all, Donna Cook. We love you, Donna. Keep writing. Spanky Fuentes in Amarillo, Texas. Spanky's been with us. He said they call him Spanky because when he was a kid he looked like Spanky on the Little Rascals. And so he's been called that ever since. We love you, Spanky. He just says agape. And then Blake Bailey in Georgia. I pray to hear and do the fiery truth from this narrow way ministry. Lord, help me to be bold against the Georgia pagan infestation. Well, I'm sorry, it's not just infested in Georgia, it's a Tennessee, United States infestation. I'm surrounded in. Thank you for Grace and Truth Ministries, a ministry of the few that find it. That's a good thing to title it, Ministry of the Few. Agape, Blake Bailey in Georgia. Shanna Joseph in New York. The Lord is with you. Thank you for Grace and Truth Ministries. We love you. We love you, Shanna. And then Costanza Brown in Virginia. Thank you for sharing and teaching. Thank you, Costanza. We love you. Edward Sibley. Thanks for exposing the charlatans. I'm going to do some more of that tonight. I've got a shirt. I have misplaced it, and I just found it somewhere, pulled it out. It's got dollar bills with dollar signs on them, with wings on them flying all over the place, and it's got Joel Osteen's Salvation Show. And then I've got on the back, it's got Benny Hinn is a snake or something like that, and the snake, the S in snake, is a serpent. He's a charlatan or something like that. And the Murphys in Virginia. This is Frederick, the retired soldier. He used to be in the Army. He was a chaplain. Big guy, bigger than over here. The guy over here, the big guy over here. This is our big guy. He's a big guy. Hello, Grace and Truth family. Frederick and I are doing well. We moved to Virginia a couple of weeks ago for a new job opportunity for Frederick. We're getting settled in, and if it's God's will, we will be here for a couple of years. Is there anyone in this area that studies under Grace and Truth? We'll have to look into that. As always, thanks for all you do. That's Mauricia. Please keep us in your prayers as we do the same for you. We hope to see you all soon. Agape and Phileo. Mauricia Murphy. He's about 6'5", and she's about 6 foot or something like that. They're tall. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's 5'10" or 5'11", but that's awful tall for a woman. And then we love you guys, Frederick and Mauricia. I love your mom and sister too, and your brother-in-law. Tim Bankston in Los Angeles writes, thanks for all you do. We are listening and learning. Thank you, Tim. We love you guys. Well, Ba, this is Robin's son in Amarillo. Greetings, Pastor Jim and Mary and all our brethren. Much agape and phileo to you all. Thank you, Pastor Jim and staff, for everything you do for the chosen flock of God. I thank the Lord our God for you, Pastor Jim, and Mary and staff. Agape whale. And that's my PayPal comments. And then I got some emails. I can read these. Good morning, Browns. Well, good morning. This is from Alan Tippett in Georgia. Just wanted to send some written encouragement your way this morning and ask a question about another denomination. Most importantly, I want to encourage you to continue your steadfast perseverance in boldly speaking and sharing the truth in the Word. I'm incapable of expressing the depth of spiritual understanding and motivational change of interest your ministry has impressed upon my life and those near to me. The truth rips and reaches to the depth of the soul. I'll leave it at that. These changes, both in addition and subtraction, have brought a total perspective, inside out, upside down, change in our household. Another reason for extracting the Christmas tradition from our family has been simultaneously painful and relieving. Well, us too. It is definitely painful because all of our family don't like it, and it's relieving you ain't got to involve in that mess at that time of the year. I thank you for all the unaccountable hours that you have devoted and sacrificed in researching and explaining the depth of evil associated with this and the other major pagan festivals. I am spreading the word of your ministry whenever the opportunity presents itself. We have begun for men, including myself, Bible study every Wednesday night, which entails viewing and discussing one of your videos. The video links typically allow us to cover one over 2 or 3 meetings. They are rich in detail, resulting in excellent teaching, learning resources. Question: would you briefly give your view of the restored Church of God, please, formerly the Worldwide Church of God? I think, aside from their false view and teaching of eschatology, is there anything else I should be aware of? Red flags appear in my mind when encountering this organization. Continued blessings, Alan Tippett in Georgia. Well, they still want to involve themselves in all of the literal holidays in their Old Testament, their Passover, Pentecost, and the Feast of Ingathering, and the Day of Atonement. You can have a Day of Atonement without a Passover lamb. We've got one in the 5th chapter of 1 Corinthians, and that's Jesus. Well, if the Passover lamb is spiritual, so is the unleavened bread for 7 days, and we being many are one bread and one body. We're the unleavened bread. Leaven is a type of sin. We're to be living correctly. And then the 4 cups, the 3rd cup is the cup of blessing. And Paul said the cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? So, and the bitter herbs, that is the trials that we go through. You can't keep all those rituals and still understand the spiritual. They've got a lot of strange ideas in the Worldwide Church of God. They believe that England is Ephraim and America is Manasseh, because when they organized the Worldwide Church of God, England was a stronger nation than America. Well, now that we're stronger than them, does that make us Ephraim and them Manasseh? You get that? It's just, they have rituals galore in there. And Garner Ted Armstrong was the son of Herbert W. Armstrong. He was real handsome. He had a real distinctive speaking voice when he used to come on the radio. Of course, he got caught running around with some women, and his father, Herbert W. Armstrong, ostracized him and cut him off. And Herbert Armstrong is the one that put a lot of that error into his church, and we don't believe in that. But anyway, I'm not a lot of people that we've got people here that went to Worldwide Church of God, and they like it when I teach on the spiritual Passover, the spiritual Pentecost, the spiritual Day of Atonement, the spiritual. It's all spiritual now, and they have the Worldwide Church of God does a lot of things ritualistically. I don't believe in that at all. They're not a lot different from the Jewish Christianity that keeps all of their rituals, wearing the yarmulke on their head and keeping all the rituals of the Jews. That's enough said on that. You could go online and look up Worldwide Church of God. They'll tell you what they believe. Don't believe in most of that. Now, Cindy writes to us. We love you, Alan. Keep writing. Cindy writes, "Hi, I would like to thank you for persevering in truth. I have commented on many of your videos on YouTube and do appreciate your channel. Please know you are still doing a great work. I am currently listening to 0169 from 1994. Boy, that's a long time ago. Be strong, my brother. Keep your focus on Jesus Christ, the author and the finisher of our faith, Hebrews 12:2. You have run the race, and it's be seen. Be blessed. Your sister, Cindy." Thank you, Cindy. And then Rick and Sally Deal write to us from out in Tulsa. Sally called me yesterday. I talked to Rick and Sally has been diagnosed with cancer. She's under chemotherapy, and she said she realizes this is the will of God. All I've got is part of her email regarding teaching 0166 on asking in prayer, believing. What a great message, Jim. It's so good to visit these older videos. They reinforce all I've learned. From 8 years, I have been listening to you. I love this truth and you and Mary, so humbled that my God revealed his truth to me. Thank you, Pastor Agape and Flail, Sally Dill, and Rick from over in Oklahoma. I love you guys. I know you're going through a hard time. And then I talked to Dan Doyle today up in Wisconsin, and Sue Doyle, Dan's wife, Dan's the oldest, her mother passed away, I think it was yesterday, and Dan called me and said she sat there in front of the doctor and said, "I don't want to live any longer. I'm 94 years old, and this is long enough," and said she just passed away gently. And when I get to be 94, I don't want to live any longer either. And that ain't that far away. That's 13 and a half years from now. The last 13 and a half have flown by. I'm going to teach till I can't stand up here and teach anymore, till I fall down. And for those of you that are supporting the ministry, I'm going to say to you what I said to Dan today. I said, "Dan, y'all support this ministry financially. And I want you to know I'm not going to send out a quarterly report. Don't believe in that. Not from a manager of a company or from a pastor of a church. You can doctor reports up all you want to. What I'm doing for those of you that support us, it takes about $37,000 a month to run the ministry. That's giving away all the DVDs, about $2,500 a month. That's paying the 5 salaries. That's the payroll. And the rent, I pay the rent once a year at the end of September. Don Mercer, who owns all this unit here, he's got an office over here, and he gives me a special deal if I pay him all at once. So I gave him about $1,750, something like that, 17,000, excuse me, around 17,500 at the end of September. That was for all the rent for this next year till September. And then we've got everything that's left over, I'm not getting your money and putting it in my pocket. I've been accused of that. I guess you've got enough building fund. You can take it, and you got $1 million by now. No, I don't. We are a corporation. I can't take money out of that without breaking the law. But our bills and everything, when they're paid, the rest goes into the benevolent fund is separate from this, and the bills and the building fund operate out of the same fund. What's left stays in the building fund. I'm going to tell you what we've got in it. Should I do that over the? No, I don't need to do that. It's going to cost. I've checked on lots in this town. The one down here next to the flower shop, where the old Phillips Robinson Funeral Home used to be, where the lady puts out the flowers in the spring. That's the lady that does that is Victor's mother. And that lot is 1.1 acres. The last time they put it up for sale was $1.2 million. That's what a lot costs on Main Street here. It's just the way it is. The main reason, because Hendersonville is a lake town. When the Stars get their big hit records, or the Moguls at Vanderbilt University, or these big corporations, when they buy a house, they come out here to buy one on the lake. They've sold all the lake property just about. But if you buy an 1.5 acre lake lot, it costs you about $800,000 to $900,000. That is with no house on it. If you can get a boat dock permit. Then when you put the house on it, it goes up to a couple of million or whatever. That's why this Hendersonville is a celebrity town. I recognize old stars, but I don't go up to them and say, hey, I recognize you, because I don't like stars. Y'all figured that out, hadn't you? Most of them have egos bigger than the state of Texas. And I know you guys, I've been out there with you. And I'm looking at the camera when I say that. And but that's why property in this town is so high, is because they come more to Hendersonville than the other side of the lake, because that's a further drive to go over there to Mount Juliet. And some of them buy over there, but most of them buy it here if they can. That's what drives the prices up in this town. So I figure if we get enough money, that we can buy a lot for $1 million, $1.2 million or $3 million. And believe it or not, we got a considerable amount on it already. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not taking your money and putting it in my bank account. You understand that? And you guys that have accused me of that, I'm looking at the camera. You're idiots. I can't steal from the ministry. If I do, that's against the law to steal from a corporation. People don't understand that. But we were incorporated. Let me explain this. My father pastored a little church in Memphis, a little bitty house church. When he quit and retired, he came to me and said, Jimmy, that's what he called me, Jimmy. So he said, we need to transfer this corporation over to Grace and Truth. Instead of you having to go through all the paperwork, we'll transfer it over. And that's what we did. We went down to one of the office buildings downtown. I think it was the Andrew Jackson building or something. And we went up and we transferred it over, transferred that corporation to here. So we are a corporation. I can't steal from it. You got it? It's whether you trust your preacher or not, okay? And I'm not interested in making more money. The only guys I want to get to raising are these guys that work for the ministry, Mike and Dave and Tom. They work like crazy, keeping us on all of these TV stations around the country and getting DVDs out for you. So there's so much that goes on here that we don't stop and tell you all about it all the time. Mike's up here nearly every day making DVDs for the TV stations. And I want y'all to know that. When you support this ministry, it is the ministry you're supporting. You do help pay the payroll here. And you can't ask these guys to work for nothing. And if I raise anybody, it'll be them. They're worth every penny I can give to them. If I paid Mike what he's worth, or Tom, or Dave, I'd have to pay them astronomical salaries, which I can't afford to do that. So anyway, I thought I would just kind of inform y'all a little bit on what we do and what's going on. All right, that'll be enough said. Let me give you our announcements. We are on the internet. Tonight will be the 3950th message that we've got on DVD. A lot of people write and say, I want a copy of everything you've got. You're kidding. Well, but if we give them a copy of everything, then what you're going to have to do is move here, get you a job, and come over here and work every night making these up, okay? You can have 3 at a time, 3 special orders a month. And believe me, you won't be able to get through those 3 in a month and get all the information off of them, because there is a lot. I have forgotten a lot of the things I've taught on. You can, just like somebody said, that 0160 or whatever it was, I have taught on so many different things. Sometimes I have to go back and remind myself. We're on TV all over the country, about 70, 75 markets, and one market will cover all the suburbs of that area. We're on in Chicago, and it covers part of Wisconsin, the bottom end of Wisconsin, over here on this corner, Illinois, and under it, Indiana. So part of Illinois, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And then we're on all over the country, and up and down the East Coast and the West Coast and all in between. So watch us on the internet, and you'll be able to see what we are, you'll be able to learn. That's the big key. All right. Well, it's good to see James Bureau here. James come through town, and we're glad to have you here. James is from over in North Carolina. What town? Carthage. All right, and we're glad Frank Nicolosi has moved down here from, is it Massachusetts, outside of Boston? Is it outside of Boston? I'm sorry the Patriots got beat by Nashville the other day. It's time that the Titans started winning some games, isn't it? Since they got that new quarterback, I guess they'll do better. And he seems to be fearless. All right. If you want to help the needy, we give to the needy. I give to the needy nearly every time we walk in this door. And then I give once a month to certain people around the country. That is not mixed with our building and operational things. That's totally separate. And I've got a benevolent fund at the bank. That's where the needy, theirs comes from. All the other expenses is separate from the benevolent fund. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer. And James, would you pray for us?
Lord, thank you for this time of fellowship here, Lord, with your people. We look to you, Father, to feed us with your bread, Lord. Thank you for all things. We remember the elect that are abroad, Father, and those that are unaware at this time, Father. We ask that your will be done in our lives, Father. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
2 minutes. Cell phones off.
Am I on?
You're on.
Let me make sure my light's on.
You're on.
All right. The light's on, okay.
All right. 30 seconds.
Mary is still sick. She's struggling with her blood pressure. She's been doing that for months. I told her just rest when you can. Don't worry about things. Just go sleep. So she was doing that when I left.
Hey, Jim. You knew Jesse was back in the hospital, right?
What?
You knew Jesse was back in the hospital.
I can't hear you.
Did you know Jesse is back in the hospital?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Jess is in the hospital.
Yeah. He started having heart pain again, so they got him under observation. They're going to do some kind of procedure on him in 2 days.
I didn't know that. Jess is, where's he in the hospital?
Veterans.
And where?
Veterans.
The VA.
Oh, the VA. That's right, he's a veteran.